Good afternoon, legends. Welcome to another episode of Harder to Kill, and we're back after a little hiatus. We had a little bit of a holiday with Spartan Gold Coast. I was down in Sydney for a while. What else did we have going on, Mick? Something happened.
Sydney, harder to kill. Spartan, yeah, we had the Gold Coast stuff, and in the end, I just think we're both exhausted.
I think I was at Noosa. We had a good little run though, man. I think we did 10
Yeah,
episodes. Some good stuff there. We're back though. We're back after a break. A couple of people messaged me and said, "Where are you guys?" They said, "Where's the porn star and the pirate? We want them back." But the porn star and the pirate have retired for another year. Your beard's coming back quick too, man.
yes, I'm very happy with that. It's been missed.
It's yeah, it was interesting there for a little while. If you are watching, guys, let us know, just like Dora has. Hello, Dora. Give us a hashtag live. Give us a hashtag replay if you're watching a replay later. I'm going to be talking all about hydration today, which I think is very necessary considering the event that many of us had at Spartan Gold Coast and the way that it went for so many people. If you weren't at Spartan GC and you haven't heard about it already, it was fucking hot. It was real hot. And I think just because it had been so long between drinks, I think it had been so long since we had an event and got out there doing the carries and doing the running. I think it just hit a lot of people real hard. So plenty of people cramping. I certainly had a lot of cramps. Mick, I think you were struggling with them a little bit in the beast as well.
I actually didn't cramp till after,
Okay.
and that I used the breathing and my hydration stuff I led up to it sort of
Yeah.
saved me a bit. I did feel like some were about to come on, but using my breath mechanics, it was able to stop it. But all my cramps actually happened on the Sunday when I was getting those vicious hand cramps and stuff.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, like this fucking Spider-Man
But
thing going on.
yeah,
You know what I
but
got?
yeah, no leg cramps of them.
I bought a pain pod at the event. I sat with those guys for a while, and I put on we bought all these attachments for it. And I put on these pain pod gloves yesterday, and I tried them. And Dom filmed a video of like when it turns on, and I'm like, and I thought of you with your hand cramps. But yeah, it was a little bit brutal. I cramped early. I was cramping about 7Ks into the beast, and look, I've been doing this for a while now, so cramping is not something that I should have happen anymore. But I made a little bit of a mistake on Friday and paid for it dearly on the Saturday, but then recovered on the Sunday a lot better. But yeah, plenty of people cramped. I think even the likes of like Adrian Janenga were like walking the end of the beast because of cramps. So like there was some, I know that stairway to Spartan took a few souls with people hitting that obstacle and dropping. I actually just sat at the top of that wall for a little while, just watching people hit the wall and then lay on the ground for a while, stretching their calves out. It was a bit brutal. Can you see these comments coming in, Mick? Or can you not see them until I bring them on screen? We've swapped
Yeah,
to new
that's them
software
too.
today.
Oh wait, yeah, no, I see him now. Fixed it. All good. I
You
see
can
him.
see those comments?
Yeah, I can see all the
Okay,
live
cool.
ones that so far, and yeah, cool.
Yeah, cool. So
Yep.
Andrew's here, dancing. Hopefully you're dancing while watching this. Cheryl's here, Tash is here, Sarah's here, George is here. Hey. So, hydration. Why do we need it? Why do we need water? And what's going on with hydration? Hydration, I think, from a performance standpoint, is two factors. It's the total amount of fluid in the body, or I guess concentration of fluid in the body, and it's also your concentration of electrolytes. And these can be independent things that can affect your performance, or in the case of getting out at Spartan Gold Coast, you probably had two factors. You probably had the, sweating, losing electrolytes, and also dehydration, giving you some problems. So water makes up about, depending on where you look, about 60 to 80% of the body. The brain is about 80% water. The heart's around 73% water. The lungs are about 83% water. Muscles are about 79%. Skin is about 64%. And even the bones are about 31% water. So it's pretty fucking important. If you don't have it, you die. And it's interesting. I don't think I'm going to find that pen. It's interesting how much like the equilibrium in the body, you only have to influence it a little bit and fuck up the concentrations a little bit before you start seeing results. So your body's really good at keeping everything in balance. And there's a word for it that I was going to say that just escaped me, but it'll come back. So we don't have to influence
Homeostasis.
Homeostasis, that's the one. Thank you. You don't have to get too much out of whack, out of balance before you start having issues. I've heard things like 2% dehydration will affect like 15% of your performance and your output. And depending on where you look, I was doing a fair bit of research before this one, and there was plenty of different sources. But anything to add there, Mick, before we get into what water actually is?
Well, it's as you said, water is like basically the most important part of the body. Muscles, everything can't act. And this is what was good about Spartan was, especially the Beast, it humbled a lot of people because a lot of people went out there without their camel packs and stuff like that. And it's a rough way to learn how important hydration is.
Right.
But yeah, a lot of people just realized, hey, because I was talking to a lot of the elites and that were like cramping as well, that they've never cramped before, and it's like goes to show like how vital this substance is, even though people don't put a lot of necessary. Then everyone focuses on all my gels and everything else and my food, but water was probably the biggest factor, and it was probably the least thought of until you're out there, and then everyone's thinking, "Oh shit, I fucked up now."
We're fucked. Yep. Yeah, you're definitely right, man. What I'm going to do, I just realized that I didn't share this live with the with Spartans of Australia, and where else was I going to share it? In the event. So, do you want to talk for a minute or two, Mick? And I'll just share this.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, buddy.
So, just like everything else in our body, water is the most important thing, but it also does have its own limitations. A perfect example was a few guys I was running with out of the Beast found they couldn't actually consume any more water because they had over-consumed water. And just like anything else, food and stuff, we can overeat, you can overdrink, which then puts your body into a defense mechanism of trying to relieve yourself of water. This is a technique that's used a lot in old-fashioned way of cutting weight for fighting and stuff, where they water load, and then basically, because the body wants to get rid of so much water, it starts expelling it everywhere, including like throwing it up when you're on a race course and stuff like that, like a few guys had, to excessive sweating, and this is more over-urinating. All these elements shows like how water is important, but it can also be used in a way that is not actually healthy. And that's what we found out today. This is why we have things like electrolytes, and that was the biggest problem is the electrolytes. Now, when we talk about electrolytes, what are electrolytes? We're talking about our sodium, calcium, potassium, zinc, all those minerals. They are the things that actually help us with muscle fibers and stuff. And this is where a lot of people would have found they were cramping on the Spartan weekend, was because it wasn't just the fact that there was not enough water, even though there was plenty out there. It was the fact that because it was just water and the body was trying to work and actually perform, a lot of people found themselves cramping at Stairway to Sparta because there wasn't enough minerals to help the contraction of muscle.
Yeah, that's definitely a big thing. You see it in marathons as well. It's really, really common. People overhydrating. So because they're getting hot, they think drinking water is cooling them down, and they, to make themselves feel better from overheating, they start drinking more and more water, and what ends up happening is you go into hyponatremia. So you actually affect the concentration of your electrolytes. You don't have enough sodium, because imagine you've got a teaspoon of salt in a glass of water, if we now pour that, or say add 3 times the water, that teaspoon of salt now diffuses across, 3 times the water. So that's basically what happens. And it's the same problem as hypernatremia, as if you have like too much salt. So there's this equilibrium works both ways. You can overhydrate, you can underhydrate, you can take too much electrolytes, you can take not enough electrolytes, and the end result for pretty much all of those things is you're fucked. So super interesting. What does water actually do? I've got a little list here, Miko, of stuff that I'll run through.
Yep.
And just feel free to chip in or add anything. So a couple of things water does around the body. It's transport. So it transports the vitamins, the minerals, nutrients around. Waste and toxin removal, same sort of thing. It is critical to digestion. So if you're dehydrated, your digestion isn't going to run effectively. And that can be a factor if you're, say, doing an enduro or something like that, where being able to digest food becomes an important factor for performance. If you're running dehydrated, that can be something that can affect that, and your dehydration is already suffering when you're exercising for that long. It's going to keep your blood volume optimal. So, as we said, a lot of the body's made up of water. I think your blood's about 80% water. So if we lower the water, we essentially lower the amount of blood in the body, and that means your heart has to do a lot more work to pump the blood around. It's like running your pool filter dry.
Well, it can also it'll also play with the thickness of your blood as well. It can actually cause your blood dehydration, can cause the blood to thicken, which basically makes it harder to flow through you as well.
Yeah, 100%. It keeps your airways inflated. As we said, your lungs are about 83% water, which is counterintuitive for anyone who's accidentally breathed in some fucking water. It's not fun. But if your airways get too dry, they tend to collapse, and they don't run terribly effectively. It prevents dry mouth. Dry mouth is bad if you have dry mouth, your breath's probably going to not be too nice. You're also going to get cavities. Waking up, like going to sleep. I know I'm bad and I'm starting to tape my mouth again now. Waking up after I'm really tired and I've just obviously fucking laid there with my mouth open all night, and you wake up and your mouth is just full of gunk. It's disgusting. So, and it's actually really bad for your teeth to do that. So keeping your mouth wet is good for your teeth. It's going to help muscles and joints work better. So, and we will talk more about the muscles when we start to talk about the electrolytes and what they do and their functions are. But it lubricates joints as well, which is an important thing. It's super important for temperature regulation, and it's working. It's hitting temperature regulation on 2 different pathways. It's hitting it on radiation, which is the same way like a radiator heater works. And what it's basically doing is expanding the blood vessels near the surface of your skin. So that's why when you start to exercise, your face gets flushed. That's a mechanism for your body to cool itself down. So it's passing the blood at the surface of the skin where the heat is going to dissipate through the air. And when you get dehydrated, that affects that pathway. Also, you've got evaporation as well. And that's what is happening when you're sweating. That's why we're sweating. Your body's trying to regulate that heat. When water evaporates, it absorbs the heat around it. And that's how evaporation works. That's how sweating works. That's why it's super dangerous when you're in a very humid environment, because you sweat, but your body's not getting any cooler. So temperature regulation, it's naturally going to suppress your appetite. If you're trying to lose weight, a really good thing to do before meals is just drink a full glass of water. Just makes you feel full. It's going to make your skin look fuller. The skin cells are going to be fuller, which will make your skin look healthier, glow a little bit more. It's also going to facilitate fat removal. If you're dehydrated, and you're trying to lose fat, you're fighting with one hand behind your back. It's also maintaining muscle tone. as well. So if you're dehydrated, your body's not gonna, your muscles aren't as full. Anything to add there, Mick?
How about it's just fucking awesome? Nothing beats a cold glass of water.
Yeah, agreed.
As well. Yeah, no, that's exactly right. That's how important it is. And that's why I was still shocked to see so many people doing the beast and not having any hydration packs.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And another thing that and you mentioned was the overhydration, which I saw a fucking lot of. People just drinking bottles of water, like multiple bottles of water at aid stations.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, you're like, this is not good. But I've sort of read too, like you can lose anywhere between half a litre to 2 litres of water per hour while you're exercising. And some people would have been sort of right at the 2 litre mark at Spartan GC. So, whatever you're losing, you got to be able to put back in, but also your body's got to be able to absorb it and send it where it needs to go. And that sort of process takes a little bit of time. But that's where I think you did a post a while back, Mick, about, it might have actually even been in the lead up to Spartan, of how do you find out how much water you actually need? Because you see fucking fitness gurus get on and say, you need to drink 3 litres of water a day. And it's like, okay, well, how much does that person weigh? Or are they working in a fucking office, or are they working outside in the sun? Like, you can't make that call. It's like somebody texting me and I don't know who they are or what they look like or how big they are, and they say, how much should I eat? And I say 1,800 calories. Like, it's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
How did that? I remember seeing that post, but I don't want to paraphrase you. How did you word that as far as finding out how much water you need?
Water for me was, I was finding out on my performance. Now, as you said, most people, the study shows that people usually lose to about 1 to 2 litres of water per hour on their exercise. The problem with the study like that is, those types of studies are done on people that are more inclined for an endurance body type.
Sure.
Rather than, so for me, when I measured it, I averaged on mine about 3 litres an hour, because I'm a bloody big boy.
Yeah.
And whereas most people that do this, people that do those sort of studies are anywhere from the 60 to maybe 80 at most, 80 kilos at top. So, which, I mean, I've still got another 30 kilos on those guys. So, yeah. This is where it's good to do your own. So for me, what I was doing was measuring my sweat rate. Now, there's 2 ways to sort of do it. You can go to an actual facility where they will actually put a tape on you with a little swab on your arm, and they'll get you to do an hour of exercise. You take that off, you send that to them, and they will measure not just your water output, but they also measure your electrolytes.
Okay, cool.
Now, if you're like me, sometimes I like to learn my own way. I like to test myself as well. Plus, I live out in the country, so if I'm going to do something like that, it's a long-ass trip for me to do it. So what I did, and this is what I told everyone on the socials leading up to and all that, was it's a really simple process. What you're going to do is, if next time you're doing a run, a ride, or even if you're doing like an hour-long gym session, the more times you do this, the more different intensities, the better you'll get at it. But the simplest way to do it is, before you go to work out, you strip down to your birthday suit and weigh your body. So get your scales out, see how heavy you are. Make a note of that. Go do your exercise. Yeah. So go do your exercise. If you're going to lose, have whatever water, measure the water you take. So say I just do an hour of running and I wouldn't take any water with me because it makes it easier, but you can have like some hydration with you. When you come back after that hour of exercise, get back down to your birthday suit, measure your weight. The difference in your weight is going to give you numbers. So let's just say you drop over an hour, you drop 2 kilos. Now, if you had any water with that, you would actually add that on to your number. And so we got 2 kilos. We're going to turn that into grams. So that goes down to 2,000 grams. We're now going to divide that by the time of 60 minutes. So it's the whole thing. So you divide it by the minutes that you did. So this is cool if you did something for 100, 120 minutes, you did it for 65 minutes, whatever. That's then going to give you your sweat rate per minute. And then you times that by 60, and that'll give you a rough estimate of where you're at with your sweat rate per hour. The more you do this, now I went into a further thing for myself is I did this like every second day for 2 weeks, and I made a note of what the temperature was,
Yeah.
and the intensity.
Yeah.
And this allowed me to get a rough estimation of what I really needed for the Spartan weekend, because I did some temperatures where it was 16 degrees all the way up to, I think I did one at 35. So I was really ready for the GC.
Yeah.
Now, that gave me my water content, but it didn't give me my salt content, my sodium, my electrolytes, and all those sort of things, zinc, everything. This is where I sort of went on a rough estimation of roughly I wanted to make at least 30 to 40% of my water intake on electrolytes. So I roughly split that all up. For me, I got a really cool blend of I got an Endura blend. It was really good. And I made sure I just dosed my Camel Pack with about 5 scoops of that stuff. Really put me in a high sodium content, but it didn't stop me from cramping while I was out there, which was good.
Yep.
I did my best thing until I basically ripped the top head off my Camel Pack and then had to just really suck down the last thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's a good fucking formula, man, and that's probably like, aside from elite athletes, I don't you know proper elite high end Olympians and stuff like that. You know, I don't think anyone would be going to that sort of lengths to measure their hydration and how much they're actually sweating. Like, I speak to a lot of athletes and performing at pretty high levels, and I've never heard anyone explain that. I think it's like if you start to try and work out what your maintenance calories are, right? So say you want to work out, say I want to lose fat, or I want to gain muscle, or I just want to work out what my baseline is, so what I should be eating every day to stay as I am right now. So we need to understand that calorie in, calorie out formula, right? And the way that we do that is we measure our TDEE, so our total daily energy expenditure, which is a BMR calculation, which is then times by the amount of physical activity. So we work out the basal metabolic rate. We do that by working out somebody's age, their height, their weight, and that gives us a rough estimate of calories. Then we times the amount of activity they're doing. It might be 1.25, 1.75, depending on if they're exercising four times a week or whatever. And we end up with this calorie figure that should be pretty close to their maintenance, right? But a lot of people just leave it there, and then they go, that's it, that's gospel. But it's an estimation. So like, there's a fair bit going on with the body. So what I'm hearing is, if you're exercising for 2 hours and you're losing 3 liters or 3,000 grams, that you've lost 3 liters of water. But you're also vaporizing a little bit of fat that you're breathing out. There's also some other stuff going on physiologically in the body. So while that's a good starting point, it always needs to be tweaked and reworked out. And as you said, you experimented, you know, at 15 degrees, it's this, at 35 degrees, it's this. How did you work out the electrolytes? Was that just did you do a bit of research and work that out? Did you just
basically,
say 40%
I
of the
did a
water
bit of research, looking at some studies, and they usually said about 20 to 40% of hydration that people lose is usually sodium and stuff like that.
Okay.
I think it was in a sports journal. But for me, because I'm bigger, I always go to the higher spectrum, and that as well just makes it easier.
Yeah, I'm a bit like that too. They say
but the good thing about this was, the other thing I wanted to do this is, it let me know how much I was actually going to take with me. Because a lot of people are worried, like, yeah, man, this is what the elites probably did. They're worried about taking too much and having it weigh them down in the race, you know, affect their performance. But as you just said, you know, being 2% dehydrated is going to affect, like, at least you by 15+% output.
Yeah, it's a big thing. And another thing that I see people do is, once the cramps start, they just start fucking popping salt tabs like Tic Tacs.
Mm.
And that's that. In a funny sort of pathway, if you get dehydrated or you lose too many electrolytes,
Yeah.
your body stops being able to carry and conduct electrical signals, and that's why we start to get these
Mm.
cramps and stuff. But if you have too much sodium, too much of a gradient, too much of a concentration of the electrolytes, the same problems happen. You start to get spasm
Mm.
in muscles and shit starts to go wrong. So people, when they're trying to avoid cramps, they pop too much sodium and it actually causes fucking cramps.
Yeah.
So having some sort of, you know, strategy is a very,
Mm.
very good thing. Sorry, I just realized that logo was there. I just got rid of it. Um, just running through some comments, man. Dora's on the bike. Tasha's doing yoga.
Love it.
Sean Lucian's here. Sarah's here. Andy Nobbs just jumped, heading out on the trails after. Rachel's here. Darren's here. Sean, question for Mick. You mentioned earlier your breathing helped prevent you cramping. I know you'll go through it more once I join your 6-week course in the new year, but can you explain briefly what you did? Run us through your little stop panic breathing sequence, Mick.
So basically, yeah, we all know when we feel that cramp, you can just feel like something's going to happen. If you're paying attention to your body, you're going to feel that like, you're like, okay, I can feel it coming along. Now, this is where people most times start freaking out, thinking, oh my God, I'm going to cramp. And they start hyperventilating.
Yep.
And because of that, what it's then causing, it's actually causing a faster reaction to a cramp now, because your body's going to that fight and flight mode of holy shit, and then that cramp hits you.
Yep.
What I was doing is a little technique that I use is I was breathing, taking a sharp 3-second breath in. So it was and then I was taking a 9-second exhale while I was slowly jogging. Reason I was doing this is because that fast breath in is allowing me to get a supercharge of oxygen to my body, which is then going into my blood and that. But the slow exhale is helping me prolong that carbon dioxide release, because it's actually the carbon dioxide is what causes that lactic acid feeling, causes us to feel smashed up. But it can also cause, when you suddenly want to flush it out, it can cause the shock in the muscle, which can trigger that cramp because it's suddenly got more oxygen, does it. Whereas if you relax
pH
it,
levels as well.
Yeah, when you slow that exhale, and I mean not just slow it by 2, but like 3 times the amount of what you did, then your body is now being more comfortable with the CO2 that is in the system, and it's actually then relaxing this little thing in the muscle called the Golgi muscle spindle. That thing is what snaps on your cramp to protect your muscles. When that is relaxing, that allows your body to then just cool, calm, and it's like, okay, we're all right, this is all right. I'm not in a stressful situation. So I was doing that for a lot of the second half, because my cramp fix that I was taking during the run had already gone. Now I was taking cramp fix at the start, not because I was cramping. It was a preventative, but it was also as a sort of a palate cleanser. Because with hydration and stuff, when you have too much of the same thing, we get palate fatigue. Happens when you have too much water, happens when you're having too much of those gels and everything. So I was constantly like every 3 or 4 Ks, I would have a quick little sip. And that,
That's the most hardcore fucking thing I've ever heard. You're using cramp fix just to clean your palate. Like, people complain about the taste of that so much, and you're like, this is just how I clean my mouth out, motherfuckers.
Yeah, that's how it was. That's it. But doing that in combination, because my Enduro, even though it's a lemon lime mixture I've got from my Enduro, it's still quite a little on the sweet side. Yeah. By doing that,
does it get a bit syrupy?
I had no problem at all. But yeah, and this is, I went really deep going, making sure I was fully rep for Spartan GC. I did not want to, because the beast, and then doing the hurricane heat that night, I did not want to be like limping trying to tell people to do stuff.
100%. Mate, I remember Oberon earlier in the year. You and I ran together a fair bit of it. And I think I was definitely under the weather. I was considering pulling out. I was nearly spewing on the way driving up there, and I was not in a good place, and thought, fuck it, I'll just get out and sort of walk, jog the race. I'm here now. But I was cramping that one as well because I couldn't keep much hydration stuff down. I think I spewed my coffee at the start of the race. And I remember you taking me through the breathing exercises while we were sort of jogging down some of those hills because the cramps would start to come on and you like you were running us through the breathing exercise and you just feel your body relax and let go. So yeah, it does work. Get on the breathing program, Shauno. It's good stuff.
Yeah, he's waiting for it.
It's waiting. They're in the wings. They're ready. Funzi's here. Good to see us back. Good to see you, girl. Maddie Probes is here. Maddie Day's here. Jen Selmore's here. Maddie Probes says, came in late. You guys spoken about cramp fix. I've had some on course. It feels like it helped. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that at the end. We'll get into what you can do to stop cramping. Yes. So I don't know if we want to talk about what's actually happening when you're getting dehydrated first, or do we want to start talking about electrolytes first?
Let's talk about getting dehydrated first.
All right. So we said already that a lot of the body's made up of water. 80% of the brain's water. 80% of the lungs is water. A lot of the blood is water. So once we start to lower that concentration of water in the body, it affects pretty much every single system. It's probably about as important as oxygen, water. It's quoted, dehydration's quoted as one of the leading causes of problems such as headache, fatigue, and joint pain. I'm big for it. I get headaches a lot because I'm on devices all the fucking time. And probably, which is usually why I wear these fucking things, but probably half the time when I get headaches and I go and take like Panadol, it's probably the water that fixes me more than the Panadol. Do you get many headaches, Mick?
Not really, but I normally have, so I've got like, this is a liter. I have 2 of these constantly on go. So as soon as I empty one, I'll fill this up and put it in the fridge and take out my other one. So I constantly keep this on me.
Okay. Cool.
So I'm always downloading 3 to 4 liters just on without even before I even train and stuff like that. But
yeah, it's a big thing. They reckon it's the leading cause of fatigue as well. So poor concentration, because the brain is like 85% water. As soon as you start taking a bit of the water out of the brain, it don't fucking work so good. So that's what's going to drop your concentration, your focus, cause that fatigue. 2 times, when you get tired at like 2 in the afternoon, that can be a bit of a dehydration thing. And as we said before, it can only be like 2% drop of your body's concentration, like it's the homeostasis level of how much water there should be. We start to affect that at like 2% less water than there should be, and you start to have these issues. They reckon it's like 2% of water drop is going to have an effect of up to about 15% performance, which is huge for everyone watching this podcast because most of them are Spartans. Most of them are trying to run. Also, you've got things like hormone chemical imbalances, which can in turn affect your immune system. So it's a big fucking cascade. Obviously, the reverse of all the pros that we said about what water does. So things like healthy skin, healthy looking muscles. Once we start getting dehydrated, we start to see more bags under the eyes and things like that. So anything to add there, Mick, that you can think off the top of your head?
Well, dehydration, like with the lack of water, can actually increase your chances of getting rhabdo. So for people who don't know what rhabdomyolysis is, basically it's where you break down the muscle cells and it gets into your kidneys and really just fucks you up and stuff like that, to the point that you have to go to hospital. Like literally.
Have you ever had it?
You get straight to hospital. No, I have a friend that's had it like 3 times. She's crazy.
I had a mild dose of it after my first 12-hour enduro. So I
Yep.
had like full body fucking DOMs after my 12-hour enduro, and like the next day I was fucked. Like I could hardly walk, and I just laid on the couch all day. And then day two, I'm like, man, I'm fucking sore. But I was sore in places that didn't really get used, and I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And I went to a doctor, like 40 to maybe 50, 60 hours after the event. So it had been a good while. And he ran all my bloods and said your creatine kinase levels are through the fucking roof. Had you come in day one, we would have put you on dialysis. But I was fucked. Like kidneys weren't working properly. So the
Yeah.
lactic acid builds up in your blood so much that it fucking like eats you from the inside. It wasn't much fun,
Yeah.
but it was only a mild case.
Well,
I pulled back.
yeah. Well, the perfect example of it would be like you take a fresh cut new steak and you take a piece of beef jerky. The difference is one's hydrated, one's not. One you can bend and manipulate, and you have to really rip it out. The other one will snap.
Mm.
That's literally what happens to your muscles if you're not having enough water.
Yeah. Can you
Gotta keep
make
them
jerky?
hydrated.
Just to go off topic
Yeah,
for a second, you can make jerky. I reckon we should
yeah.
do that as a
Got a
business,
jerky
man. Have
maker.
you seen what they fucking charge for that stuff?
Yeah,
I
there's a
reckon
place,
I reckon there's
Boardwalk
millions to
one.
be
They go
made.
in here. I love it. I love it. I
Jerky's
get
amazing.
these.
Amazing.
Oh mate, mate.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it becomes brittle. It becomes easy to break the meat
Hmm.
because it's
Yeah.
dehydrated. So and that's sort of the same thing that's happening with the skin. So the hydration makes the skin supple, makes it more malleable and more flexible, which is why it looks healthier. Um, yes. Now I want jerky. Dominica, if you're watching, can you make jerky? I don't know if she can. Comment if you can. Sorry to take us off track there.
It wouldn't be harder to kill if we didn't.
Right, it wouldn't be anything I'd do if I didn't. Um, what so what were you saying? I did cut you off there.
No, we were talking about you were talking actually. Yeah.
Damn, it's gone. It's gone. I forgot everything. Um,
We're in full
another
swing. I love
thing,
it.
yeah, we're back. We're back with a bang. Um, Another thing, which was one of the pros that we said about having enough water, is lubricates your joints.
Yeah.
This is a big one. If you are out there doing marathons or enduros or Spartan or something like that, and you do have joints that are a little bit funny, if you're getting dehydrated, that can really fuck you up. Can really exacerbate those problems. Rhabdo, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So yeah, so bad stuff happens when you get dehydrated. Do you have anything else to say about dehydration, do you think?
Yeah. Not really, unless we want to cover the fact you can die eventually if you don't have enough. But
Yeah,
you know what?
we should probably mention that.
Yeah.
You
Well,
can
you
die.
can. Yeah. You can die.
Can die. An interesting quote. I can't remember who said it. It was like Einstein or something like that. But everything's a poison. All that matters is the dose. And it's something that I say to people about water. Like if they're drinking too much water, it's like, motherfucker, you'll die if you drink too much of that shit. Like you need it, yeah, definitely. But if you drink enough of it, it'll kill you. So that's sort of a good way to explain this homeostasis. Everything's got to be in this perfect balance. If you don't have enough water, you're going to die. If
Yeah.
you get too much, you're going to die. And it's sort of like that with a lot of things with the body. Also, the cascade of problems that happen when you get dehydrated are things like that temperature regulation. That's a big one, and potentially a big one that people would have struggled with at Spartan Gold Coast. I saw plenty of heat-stroked people after that event. I was one of them. After I ran in speedos, that was not a smart idea. But when you start to get dehydrated, you start to not be able to regulate heat, and it basically just causes the problems domino. and they just get bigger and bigger. Anything else there on dehydration, Mick?
Basically, with it, it's the whole, as you said, once you start, it's hard to stop it as well, because you've got to, it's one of those things that is preventative, is better than trying to fix the problem.
Yeah, prevention's better than treatment.
And yeah, you would have, like, Gold Coast was a perfect example of just being out there, that heat, and that more exposure. And the homeostasis, like, it's funny you talk about homeostasis, and I know we're going to go talk about electrolytes, and that's the thing with water, is people think it's just all about that water. But the reason you get too much water is because it does throw out your pH levels, because there is more in the body than just water. And that's why you got to look at the electrolytes and stuff as well.
Yeah, and that's where we were saying at the start, like, there is, like, when we talk about, say, performance hydration, there is these two independent factors that are happening at the same time, which is your water levels. But you can get dehydrated and still have the right electrolyte levels, or you can have bad electrolyte levels but have the right hydration, and they're going to present as similar problems and similar symptoms. So it's important that you really get dialed in with what's happening from a hydration standpoint, but also what's happening from an electrolyte standpoint. Now, an electrolyte is basically a substance that provides an electrically conducting solution. So when dissolved in a solvent. So if you dissolve salt in water, it becomes much more conductive to electricity. And that's basically what electrolytes doing in the body. Your body is controlled by electrical signals that get sent out by the brain. That's what causes muscles to contract and release, and your electrolytes are basically facilitating that. So you've got a couple of different ones, a couple of big ones: sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, chloride are probably the biggest ones. When we talk about salt, that's sodium chloride. So two of the big electrolytes, and sodium is mostly used for contraction. So it's mostly used for the contraction of the muscle and allowing that to happen. They do all sorts of stuff as well, but for the most part, it's carrying electrical signals and nerve signals. That's what the electrolytes are doing. But there is a whole host of other stuff that they do. But I think talking about a hydration, we could probably do a separate episode just on electrolytes and vitamins and nutrition and stuff like that, and deep dive into that. But from a performance standpoint, we just need to know that they carry the electrical signals. Anything to add there, Mick?
No, you covered that one pretty good on that one. Yeah.
Cool. The two that I think are the most important from a performance standpoint are sodium and magnesium. They're the two that you need to be across mostly. Sodium being the one that controls the contraction, which is the muscle, this way, the muscle contracting. Magnesium lets it release. So a lot of products that are like magnesium rubs and magnesium salt baths and stuff like that, that people promote as like relaxation before you go to bed. That's why the magnesium is the electrolyte that allows the release. Talking about cramp fix, I've got this sitting next to me, which is their like spray. Have you tried this stuff?
Mouth spray? No.
It's good stuff, man. It's not like for when you're on course. It's like for the night after the event. Like you just keep it next to the bed.
Okay.
Yeah, it's real good, and it's pretty high in magnesium for that reason. But I use this to like the night between Spartans, or the morning of, or the night before. I'll sort of preload a little bit of that stuff. It actually tastes okay too, compared to the stuff that you have on course, which is not so good.
I don't know what you're talking about. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, evidently. The reason I bring up the fact that there are different electrolytes is one thing that I see people doing is heading into something like a Spartan race with just water and salt tablets, and that's all they've got.
Mm.
And it's not enough. Like there's more electrolytes than just salt and chloride. So if you're not getting a complete electrolyte profile and you're leaving holes, you can have problems. Most good products will have a complete electrolyte profile. So most of your good race nutrition, things like Nuns, things like Tailwind, things like Cramp Fix, they're going to have all of those bases covered. Yeah, any thoughts there, Mick?
Yeah, no, it's true. A lot of people do. They think of electrolytes the wrong. Like you look at a Gatorade and stuff like that, and even though they are great on the carbohydrate production and stuff like that, you'll actually find that they're not as high in sodium that you really need. They're actually very limiting. They're not bad in a pinch if that's all you can get your hands on.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of people only focus on it's their salt tablets or it's either their dextrose or maltodextrin, so they've got some sugars and stuff while they're racing.
Yeah.
And it's, as you said, when you're not looking at your sodium and magnesium mix combination, that's where you'll start finding you'll have those imbalances.
Yeah. And I think it's the same if you're looking for any supplementation, like if you're getting the right stuff, like if you're taking a good protein, it's going to have all the essential aminos and probably a few more. And if you're getting bad protein, it might not have all the aminos.
Yeah.
So if you're getting good hydration products, you're going to have all of those bases covered. And I think like you've got to look at it from a standpoint of what was Gatorade made for compared to what was Tailwind made for. Like Gatorade was made by, I think, the head coach of the Gators, which was a NFL team in the States.
Really?
Yeah, it was something like that. I don't know if he was the head coach, but he was one of the on the coaching team, or might have been the fucking water boy. I don't know, but it was something with the NFL team, the Gators, and he just made this like performance drink for his football players. But running a game of NFL is very different to, it's a stop-start nature. It's very high intense for brief periods. It's very different to getting out to Spartan Gold Coast and running for fucking 5 hours in the sun. So what they need from an energy standpoint and a limited electrolyte standpoint, is not so good as, say, Tailwind, which was made specifically for endurance events. So it's about getting the right gear, right? And getting the stuff that's right for you. Maddie has a comment. I'm going to read it over here. Went through about 8 litres of water during the beast. I know I'm a sweater in training, so at least knew how to manage out on course. Had my 2-litre bladder. Grabbed a bottle as my primary. Started at the sandbag and sipped every few hundred metres. Felt great aside from cramps. After the race, had another 2-litre or so after the race and still had lost 1.5 kilos when I got home. Quite amazing. Yeah, you can lose a lot of water. And that's where we can say, like, Maddie, your hydration, might not have been that far out, but because your electrolytes weren't bang on, you had problems. And I made a very stupid hydration mistake, which is rare for me because I go into so many events now I don't even worry or get nervous. I've pretty much got the same protocol. I usually have chicken pasta the night before, and it just serves me well. So I've sort of got these rituals that I just know work. And I think this time, because we had the tent at Spartan Gold Coast and I had to go in and build it all and set it all up, and I saw you there that day, Mick, I just didn't drink any water. I went out, I had a water bottle in the car and I fucking didn't drink it. And then I was setting up that tent in the heat. And then if you remember, I bought the wrong tent pegs. So I had to fuck off back to Anaconda and buy some tent pegs and then get some other shit and then go back out the site. And it just railroaded my whole day. And I realized, like, at 6 or 7 p.m. that night when I went to the bathroom and peed orange, that I was like, oh shit, I've got a race tomorrow, and you're too late then. You can't catch up. Like you got to be hydrated like 2 or 3 days before an event in the lead up. You can't just cram the night before. it's not a good strategy. So I knew I was in a bit of trouble, and then I was trying to drink as much as I could, and I think I overhydrated a little bit. Um,
Mm.
and I was fucked 7Ks into the beast. But but also I was trying some new the Cliff margarita blocks. Have you seen those? So they're like 3 times sodium. So I was trying
Yep.
those as well. So usually I would have a bit of Tailwind or something in a pack, um, and I didn't have that. I went these margaritas. So couple of errors that I could have done better, but as a result I cramped.
Must have been the weekend for it. I was
Oh,
my
definitely.
errors was in the sleep and food production.
Oh yeah.
I got a total of 6 hours sleep the entire weekend, and I ate about before. Well, I ate probably only about 1,500 calories, and then ate the rest. Ate another 1,500 after the super. After I finished the sprint, sorry.
Oh wow.
So my whole
Yeah.
weekend was like 1,500 calories.
How many kilos did
I
you
was,
lose?
oh shit, I dropped. Well, let's just say I got really close to it. I went into that race 1:15. I weighed myself at the end of the sprint, and I got down to 107.
Yeah. Wow.
I lost a
That's
lot
awesome.
of blood.
Yeah.
Even my
How
wife
was
still was
your?
like, "Man, you just got everything."
Yeah. You're just so much easier to hug. Um,
Yeah.
how much? How much? What was your refeed like? Because I didn't eat a lot over the weekend, and I was fucking ravenous for like 2 days, man.
I think the Monday was ridiculous. It was like borderline diabetes, but the Sunday,
Yeah.
not so much. I was just, because I was so depleted and my body was just so broken down from everything, I just couldn't eat. I was just
Yeah. See, it
struggling
happens
to,
happens for me like the Monday. So like
yeah.
Saturday I didn't eat a great deal, Sunday I didn't eat a great deal. I was definitely at a calorie deficit, but I wasn't redlining anything either, so I wasn't super worried. I went reasonably hard in the super, but Monday, so like even Sunday night I didn't really eat much, but Monday it was fucking just an eat-a-thon as your body's just
Yeah.
starving to get it all back in.
Mm.
Is that usually what you do over a weekend? Like, do you usually run deficits like that, or?
No, I'm normally a little more switched on with my nutrition. Each time I'm getting a little better. There was a few other factors that just had me a little more stressed going into this one than
Yeah,
normal.
yeah. Yeah, obviously you had the hurricane heat and running all of that and all of those factors, and then a couple of curveballs that got thrown in, as usual.
Yeah. So
Ah,
no,
cool.
but yeah.
Matty Probes, what do you guys drink on course? Um, I drink. Look. I test and try a lot of products. And often you guys will hear me say I made a mistake or I tried a new product and it didn't work so well. Um, I'm usually not competing at a fucking elite level. So I'm happy to get out on course and try a new hydration product or try a new gel or something like that. And I might not get the time to go out in training and try that. So, I might have a couple of big events a year that I go hard in, and then the rest of them are just training runs with medals, I call them. Um, but for the most part, what works for me is um, Cliff blocks, so the chewy gels, um, the chewy lollies. I mean, I'll eat Cliff bars usually the night before and the morning of. Or actually, the night before I'll have like chicken pasta. But the morning of I'll usually have a couple of Cliff bars, depending on the size of the event. Um, Sometimes I throw nuns in for things like hurricane heats, so those like effervescent um, electrolyte things. Sometimes I have tailwind, and that works well. And I'll often run that in things like enduros when you're just trying to get calories in. Um, I also have a couple of different just electrolyte mixes that I'll have sometimes. So Turbo Superfoods sent me out some stuff, and I've tried their stuff. But for the most part, that's what I have. I also have cramp fixes, backups. Anything else is just me testing and trying different things. Well, what about you, Mick? Do you have like a go-to?
Yeah, for me, I like. I'm not a very good consumer of food while I'm racing. I find digestion can be a bit of a pain in the butt for me. So I do a combination of enduro, lemon lime, and that because that's got a great, as I said, electrolyte balance, really strong sodium, magnesium stuff like that. And then I also add in some True Protein. What's it called? True Protein, sickly dextrin,
Yep.
and that the lemon flavor because then that's got a higher carbohydrate
Yep.
content. So that's how I actually get my calories in. I use liquid calories sort of thing.
Cool.
And I load my pack up with that. I'll have that in it. And then sometimes for like the bigger ones like ultras and stuff like that, I'll usually also pack in some essential amino acids. So not branched chain amino acids, essential amino acids, just to help me get that protein profile as well for as my muscles are breaking down and going through.
Muscle. Yeah.
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 But I'm more of on the liquid side of things, and then I'll either do like for food wise, it's like a big for me. I'll do like a big heavy. I've got this really cool oats combination with a lot of nuts and everything that I've grinded up into a really nice powder. So I'll do that 3 hours before the event, so that way it gets through my system and gets through the digestive part. And then I'll just be doing either bananas and stuff before and after.
Cool. One thing I did forget to mention was Endurolites by Hammer Strength Nutrition. They're little pills. They're fucking amazing. Every time I've used them and followed them strictly, I've never had problems with cramps. But they're a pain in the ass because you need to take a certain amount of tablets every hour. I think it's 2 or 3 an hour. And if you're out on a beast course, you've got to have them in like a Ziploc bag in your pack, and it's a fucking nightmare. So when I use those, they go really well. But they work much better for me at, say, a 12-hour enduro or a 24-hour enduro where it's a pit style, where you come into the pit, you can re-grab your nutrition, smash what you need to smash, and then run back out on course. So when I do things like a 12-hour enduro, I'll basically run with nothing on me. But then when I come in for a lap, that's when I'll smash everything and then get back out there. Do you do many enduros, Mick?
Nope, this will be the first 24-hour one for me.
24?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
No, I'm not doing 12. That's too short. I've got training runs that go longer than that.
Yeah, man. We got heaps of guys that are going to be there. It's going to be sick. Yeah, it's going to be a big one.
I've got a few guys that are going to be happy.
Yeah. Bill, hey guys, what about 600ml tailwind, 600ml water, 2 litre bladder enduro rehydration? Depends on the race, depends on the length, depends on the distance, depends on how much you sweat.
And how your body goes with it. Yeah.
I think if you're going to look at what should I have, and you're real serious about it, you've got to take the approach that like Mick's already mentioned, which is work out how much sweat you are actually physically losing in that time in those conditions. So work out how much sweat you're losing on a 2-hour run when it's 35 degrees, and then do the same thing when it's 15 degrees, same thing when it's 25 degrees. Work out those formulas of how much water you're actually losing, and then add 40%, 40% of the water that you're drinking to replace those losses has the electrolytes. I think that's actually a really fucking good strategy. Something I'm probably going to adopt myself, Mick.
Yeah, and if any of you guys don't go back to watch how we put it together, just shoot me a message and I'll give you the formula. I'll show you the formula that I got. But yeah, it's as Ross Edgley says. We are our own scientists. If you experiment yourself, you'll find what works well for you. Because in the end, there's all these studies, and all these studies are done on certain people and certain types. they're not perfectly done for just you. So the only way you're going to really find your optimum performance is if you test yourself in these conditions, do these certain elements, and trial and error, and actually log it, keep a track of it, and all that sort of shit.
Yeah, you are your own best sports scientist. That is Ross Edgley, isn't it? He says that a bit.
Yeah. Yep.
Where else? What else are we talking about with hydration? We've spoken about electrolytes. We've spoken about nutrition. Cramp Fix is great as a look. The Cramp Fix is great as a fuck. I've got cramps. I need to do something about my cramps. I think if you with anything hydration, nutrition, you should be looking for prevention rather than treatment at all times. So you should have an effective hydration and electrolyte strategy so that you don't need the Cramp Fix. Cramp Fix is probably, I find, and I've tried the pickle juice, I've tried salt tabs, I've tried pretty much everything. All sorts of different fucking salt licks and stuff. Cramp Fix is probably the best product I've found on the market for cramp reduction once they're already happening. I think you can definitely front load it as well. But at the end of the day, it's a treatment. Like that's how I'd be considering it. Have you had any other good cramp treatment products, Mick?
Not as good as Cramp Fix because a lot of them, they focus too much on the so the reason I love Cramp Fix is that vinegar hit. It's literally that, oh my god, because it's that actual vinegar smack in the face is what actually releases the muscle, releases the spindle. It gives us.
Yeah.
They're still unsure why, but basically it's like when you've got a dog that's barking and then you spray it with water because it's changed its concentration, it shuts up. That's exactly what you're doing with the cramp muscle. Yep. When it's cramped on and it's barking, as soon as you have this vinegar, it just shuts off the neurological signals that are saying hold, contract, and just puts it as a reset. I mean, as the cramp guys were surprised when I told them I was actually using it as the, palate cleanser as well as the preventative. And yeah, because that's why it works well for me because it's good, that savory sweet.
Yeah.
But no, I haven't found anything that works as well as that. Everything else is sort of like focuses on that one little element too much and doesn't have that full, complete spectrum of what you need.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, having tried a heap of stuff, and Jen's just commented, mustard is good. Yeah, I know heaps of people that swear by mustard. I've tried mustard. I've tried pickle juice.
Yeah.
I think Cramp Fix is probably the best thing I've found as far as it getting results, and it's also Australian. They're Australian. They're at Burleigh. I'm actually gonna probably bring them on for a chat with Matt, hopefully before Christmas. So we'll probably tee that up in the next couple of weeks. But I'll bring Michelle, possibly her husband from Cramp Fix on, and they'll tell you all about it.
Okay. We've got to stop talking Cramp Fix because I actually want some vinegar right now. I'm actually.
You need some of this, man. You need the black cherry spray. There's a lot of product placement in this Harder to Kill. They're not paying me.
Wait, shit.
I just like it.
Yeah, we're not paying. We're not getting paid for this one. What the hell?
We don't get paid for any of them.
That's it. We got to talk to them. Cramp Fix, Harder to Kill, discount. Yeah. That's it. Discount code.
That's right. But yeah, for me, it's Australian. They, it works, so that's why I'll support it. Andrew, can caffeine cause dehydration during a race? I would say that coffee causes dehydration because it's can't think of the fucking word.
Appetite suppressant.
No, it works on another pathway. Yeah. Coffee dehydration, okay. But it's not coming to me. One sec. Coke's the same. Does coffee dehydrate? Yeah. I can't remember what it's called. Diuretic.
Oh
So
yeah,
it
diuretics.
makes you expel fluid. So a really and beer's the same, alcohol's the same. So they're diuretics. So what happens is when
Mm.
you the way it got explained to me, I think Dr. Carl on Triple J has a good formula. Um, for every 6 beers you drink, you urinate 10. So for every 600 ml of alcohol you have, you urinate a liter. So it's actually dehydrating you, and
Yeah.
that's where the hangovers come from. That's such a big part of hangovers. Um, so because caffeine is a diuretic, coffee's a diuretic, it will make you urinate more. So if you're having caffeine products, it's going to have a small influence on that. If you're sitting around having 5 cups of coffee, you're probably urinating 6 cups of coffee. You're not drinking 5 cups of coffee during a race. You're probably having a gel with a squirt of caffeine in it. So it's a little bit different.
Different. Yeah.
I use caffeine towards the end of big events. I've never really seen a dehydration influence. Um, but does, let's say, I don't even know what to Google for that. Anyway, I'm gonna say no.
We'll find out. Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
I'm
It's
gonna say
caffeine's.
I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah. Now coffee's. Yeah. The caffeine itself. It takes a lot more, as far as my understanding. There's a lot more. You need a lot more to really cause that
Yeah,
dehydration factor. In urinating, but in saying that, your body's not focusing on urinating much when you're racing. It's usually
yeah,
trying to absorb it as well.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I think like if I go to the cafe in the morning and I work at a cafe for a couple of hours and I have a few coffees, I end up feeling dehydrated, but it's because I haven't drunk any fucking
Yeah.
water and I'm drinking coffee. Um, but yeah, that's not typical what's happening in an event. Andy said, how do you work out how much anti-cramp product you need before an event? So as we mentioned, Mick's got a handy little formula for working out how much actual sweat you're losing. And then once you work out, okay, I lose 1,500 mils of water an hour, um, so you need to replenish that 1,500 mils. 40% of that you replenish is going to be loaded with your
20 to 40. Yeah.
20 to 40 is going to be loaded with your hydration products, so your electrolyte mix. So if you've got 1.5 liters and you need 20 to 40%, what's that going to be? About 500 to 400 to 600 mils of
Yeah.
a little bit more, 400 to 700 mils of mixed up cramp product. So, excuse me, a good way to think about that, and what I usually do is if I'm doing a say a beast where I'm going to run the beast reasonably quick, I might have a hydro pack on me. If I'm going to be out there for 2.5, 3 hours, and I need, I think I'm going to go through 4 liters of water, I'll probably have, say, a 3 liter pack, 2 500 meter flasks, and I might just load the flasks with hydration products, but not the pack. So that's sort of how I usually do it. And I sort of have my own sort of formulas in my head for how much I need that I've just tried and tested over the years, but Mick's formula works really well. But Andy's ping Nick with a message, and he'll set you up with that formula. Dora just finished an hour on the bike listening to us and drank plenty. Hopefully you're talking
Yeah.
about water. Hopefully you didn't fall off the bike. I know you were out with Emma last night, so might have been a few drinks happening. Matty Probes, do you have any tips to avoid cramps on obstacles? I find some of the walls and fences hammer the hamstrings. Fatigue, so cramps are coming from 2 pathways. Well, maybe a couple more, but the main pathways
Me too.
are your like dehydration, electrolyte concentration, but also fatigue. So I know that when I first started, I was cramping a lot, but I wasn't as fit. I wasn't as mobile. So I could go into events with all of my hydration stuff right, and I'd still be fucked. Whereas now I can make some big hydration and electrolyte mistakes, but because I'm stronger, because I'm fitter, because I've got a little bit more work capacity in the legs, and I work on my mobility a lot more, I cramp a lot less, even with, as not effective a hydration strategy. So cramp reduction is a few different things that you have to get right. You need to make sure you're mobile enough. You need to make sure you have enough work capacity and fitness in the legs. And then you have to make sure you've got the hydration and the electrolytes right. Anything else to add there, Mick?
That's perfect. Basically, yeah,
Cool.
it's as you said, it's make sure you got your nutrition right and hydration, stuff like that. But for a lot of people, it can be the overworking, because that's the whole other thing. It's your body's defense mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to make sure your work capacity is up there. Adding things like doing some like Tabata sets and then holds, and doing some iso holds can really help with that as well. A lot of people don't do enough isolation, especially with the hamstrings. And yeah, then of course also mobility. If you're not flexible enough to let the muscle move, it's going to be overworking a small fraction of it rather than utilizing the full range.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I just had something I was going to add then, but it disappeared. My brain's not working today. I think I'm dehydrated. Andy, last enduro didn't prepare, cramped badly, so I ended up taking a sachet of salt and water from the food vendor on site. Yeah, drinking salt water is disgusting.
Oh yeah.
That's so bad. I remember doing like a lemon detox diet that my housemate got me onto 10 fucking years ago. And the first thing you had to do in the morning was drink a liter of salt water. And it like flushed you out, went straight through your system. And I just couldn't even do it. I couldn't even drink it. It just made me spew every single day. I don't even add salt to food. So it's, yeah, eating a sachet of salt's not fun. The other thing, no, it's gone. I thought it came back, but it's gone. Sort of wrapping up, it doesn't look like we've got many other questions. Have you got anything else to sort of add on hydration, Mick?
No, really. I think we've covered heaps with this one. I'm actually really happy with it all.
We're back with a bang.
I mean, because yeah, we go to bang. I got no bang, mate. That's your style. You're the bang.
No, we both banged today. It was good.
Yeah, it's good. No, it's good. It's good to be back. I did miss this myself as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. We should be able to. We don't have any events for a while, so we should be able to get a pretty consistent run through Christmas. I think probably into sort of February, March. March is fucking bonkers. We've got obviously Enduro, Raw Challenge Dawson, Raw Challenge Gold Coast, all in that month. So we probably won't have many episodes there, but we'll have a good run. So for you guys who do turn up, let us know what you want to hear. Let us know what you want to learn about. It is very much a point and shoot situation. You tell us where to point, we'll do the research. If we can't just talk shit about it already, we'll do the research so that we can talk.
What are some of your big events for you next year, Matt? You got anything in the cards for yourself, performance-wise, whatever?
I'm going to shoot for 75 miles at Enduro. So last year at Enduro, I jumped off a wall about 82 k's in and fractured my tibia, and kept going to about the 100k mark and then pulled the pin. But the last couple of laps were sort of real walk, jog, limp style affairs. And then I pulled out, I think at about 7 in the morning or something, and the event finished at midday. So I think I had 75 miles in the legs at that event had I not had that problem, but a lot can go wrong in 100Ks. So that's going to be my target. I probably don't have quite as much volume in the legs as I had for 2019's Enduro, but we've got 12 weeks to sort that out. So yeah, I'll go for 75. And just be there to support all the events, support all the clients that are doing it as well, and our pitting guys. Aside from that, probably hit all the raw challenges, Probably hit the Raw Challenge 12-hour enduro. That's one of my favorites. I'll hit all of the Spartan National Series, definitely, and probably everything that Spartan puts out. Hopefully we see an event calendar from them pretty shortly. I'll try and get to the True Grits. That's all I can think of off the top of my head. I might do a triathlon as well, maybe. I don't know. Maybe some adventure races. We'll see what happens. See how broken I get at enduro. What about you, man? Have you got a target for enduro?
Not sure yet. I'm sort of still tying it all in with everything because my major goal is still to do my very first Ironman. So I've got exactly 6 months to go from never doing a triathlon to Ironman ready.
Are you going to do full Ironman? Like into a
full Ironman. I'm not doing half a bullshit. I'm doing the full.
Fucking hell.
I think it's 3.2k swim, 180k ride, and a 42k run.
That fucking run would be killer.
That's gonna be the fun part. I love the running. That's the part I'm excited about. It's the swimming I hate.
At the end though.
Yeah. So I've got that.
Do you float or do you sink?
Shit, no. All my weight's in my legs and my ass. So I'd be better off carrying a rock and holding my breath underwater. That's the other thing. I suck at swimming, so that's why I'm doing it. And then now I'm doing enduro because it's like right in the middle. So it's like 12 weeks, and then I'll have 12 weeks to get for the Ironman. So why not chuck an enduro in it? And then I'm going to try and find either a strongman, Highland Games, or a powerlifting meet 12 weeks after Ironman. So then I could just get all the different spectrums of shit done.
You're going
and then of course,
aren't you?
Oh, yeah. And then of course do the whole Spartans and everything, like whatever else comes up. I'll probably chuck in a couple CrossFit comps with some mates if they want me to jump in for team stuff. But yeah, you know me. I got my 3 that I want: something strength, something new, and then enduro for something fun.
Yeah, cool.
And then whatever else comes up.
In saying that, I do want to hit a strongman one day. I think it'd be something I'd probably have to tune up for a year or two, just to get into that sort of real pick up heavy shit. But
mate, I got the trees, I got the wall presses, I got the stones, mate.
Do they have like weight capacity strongman? Like, do they have like weight divisions?
Yes.
Let me know when it's on.
Yeah, well,
I might come and have a play.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right, that's all from us. But yeah, let us know what you want to see and hear. Should be up on the YouTube in the next day or two. Later, guys.
Laters.